My friends, we are living in a time unlike any other. When I look across America today, I see a nation standing at a great crossroads. It is as if we are standing on a bridge between what has been and what is about to be, and everyone senses that something is stirring, something is shifting, something is breaking forth. The winds of change are blowing, and whether we realize it or not, decisions made in these days will mark the path for generations yet to come. We cannot deny that America has seen seasons of prosperity, times of innovation, and waves of influence that touched the whole world. Yet alongside those blessings, we also see division, unrest, and uncertainty. The very foundations are being tested: faith, family, morality, even the meaning of truth itself. This is not simply politics or economics. This is a deeper shaking, a moment where the soul of a nation is crying out for direction. And it is in such times that history records turning points. Times when a people must decide, will we drift into confusion or will we rise with courage? Will we shrink back in fear or will we step boldly into the destiny that lies before us? When you study the story of nations, you notice that they all face these defining hours. Israel faced them, Rome faced them. Even the great empires of the East faced them. And now America stands at her own. The blessing of freedom and opportunity has been entrusted to this land, but with blessing comes responsibility. Responsibility to steward truth, to uphold justice, to love our neighbor, and to walk humbly before God. This is why the crossroads moment is so critical. If we lose sight of the moral compass, if we silence the voice of conscience, then prosperity without purpose will lead only to emptiness. But if we align ourselves with God's call, then even in the midst of storms, America can shine as a light once again. I believe deep within my heart that this shaking is not the end, it is the beginning. What feels like confusion is often the prelude to clarity. What feels like a tearing down is often preparation for a greater building up. God is not finished with America. No matter how dark the headlines may appear, no matter how strong the forces of division may shout, there is still a destiny yet to be fulfilled. And at this crossroads, we are being asked not to look merely with our natural eyes, but with eyes of faith. You may ask, why is this moment so different? Why now? Because the hunger in people's hearts has grown too strong to ignore. People are searching for more than temporary fixes. They are longing for truth that cannot be shaken, for a hope that cannot be stolen, for a future that cannot be denied. And when the hunger of the people meets the timing of God, something big is about to happen. This is why I say to you with all conviction, America stands at a crossroads, and the direction we choose in this moment will determine the story we hand to our children. Power in America is shifting before our very eyes. For generations, influence was concentrated in certain hands, governments, institutions, industries. But today, the balance is moving. The world is no longer the same marketplace it was 20, even 10 years ago. Technology has connected us in ways unimaginable. The voice of one individual can now reach millions in an instant, and ideas can travel faster than armies. What once seemed untouchable is now vulnerable, and what once seemed weak is now rising with strength. This is the evidence that we are living in a season of dramatic transformation. Think of how quickly the landscape has changed. Entire industries that once stood as pillars of the American dream are being reshaped by innovation. Factories are closing in some places, while digital platforms and artificial intelligence are opening opportunities in others. The way we communicate, the way we work, the way we do business, even the way we govern ourselves, nothing is the same. The power is shifting, and with it comes both great promise and great peril. On one hand, these changes carry incredible potential. A young entrepreneur with only a laptop and an idea can build something that impacts millions. A movement for justice can rise from a single voice on social media and spread across the nation in hours. The tools of influence are no longer reserved for the few, they are in the hands of the many. And yet, on the other hand, this same shift can bring confusion, misinformation, and fear. When influence becomes decentralized, who guides the moral compass? When everyone has a platform, who speaks truth with clarity? This is why this moment in America feels so unstable, yet so full of possibility. The shifting of power is not only economic and technological, it is cultural. The values that once shaped society are being questioned, redefined, and in some cases abandoned altogether. For some, this feels like liberation. For others, it feels like erosion. Families, schools, communities, even churches are all navigating this storm of change. And here lies the great question: will America use this shift of power to return to her foundations, or will she drift further into confusion? I believe God often allows shaking so that what is unshakable may stand. He allows systems to be tested so that the eternal may be revealed. As power shifts, it is an invitation for us to remember where true authority comes from. It does not ultimately rest in Washington, nor Wall Street, nor Silicon Valley. True authority rests in the hands of Almighty God. And when a nation acknowledges that truth, when a people align themselves with His purposes, then power becomes not a weapon of division, but a channel of blessing. So do not be afraid of these shifts. Do not look at the changes as signs of destruction. Look at them as birth pains of something new. America is being repositioned, recalibrated, and realigned. The power is shifting, yes, but it is shifting to prepare the way for something big that is about to happen. Across this land, something remarkable is beginning to happen. For too long, many people felt powerless, unheard, and even forgotten. They went about their lives believing that their voice didn't matter, that the systems were too big, that their efforts were too small. But now, almost like a stirring from deep within, I see people waking up. I see men and women realizing that silence cannot change the future, that apathy cannot heal a nation, and that passivity cannot build a legacy. There is a new awareness rising in the hearts of Americans, a fresh determination that says, we cannot sit back any longer. We must engage, we must speak, we must act. This awakening is not confined to one group, one generation, or one region. Young people, once dismissed as disengaged, are beginning to ask deeper questions about purpose, justice, and truth. Mothers and fathers are realizing they have both the right and the responsibility to shape the values taught to their children. Communities that once felt isolated are finding their voice through technology and connection, discovering they are not alone in their concerns. Even those who never considered themselves leaders are beginning to stand up, recognizing that leadership often begins with the simple act of refusing to remain silent. Why is this happening now? Because when pressure builds long enough, it produces a breakthrough. The hardships of recent years, the economic struggles, the cultural conflicts, the uncertainty about the future have pressed people to a place where they can no longer ignore what is at stake. They are recognizing that freedom is fragile, truth is precious, and unity is necessary. The awareness is not just political, it is deeply spiritual. It is a sense that America cannot survive on human wisdom alone, that we need divine guidance to navigate the storms ahead. And as people awaken, they are beginning to see that their actions matter more than they ever imagined. A single vote, a single prayer, a single act of courage, a single step of compassion, it all adds up. It all builds momentum. It all shapes the atmosphere of a nation. History has always been written not only by presidents and kings, but by ordinary people who decided to rise when it mattered most. That same spirit is stirring again across America. I tell you, this awakening is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. When people rise, when they find their voice, when they demand integrity and pursue righteousness, it is a sign that a nation still has hope. And though the noise of division and conflict may be loud, the quiet determination of awakened hearts is even louder. It is the sound of renewal. It is the sound of revival. It is the sound of destiny breaking forth. America is waking up, and this awakening is the signal that something big is about to happen. We cannot talk about the future of America without facing the reality that we are living in a time of massive transformation. Technology and economics are reshaping our lives faster than ever before. Think of how quickly the world around us has shifted. Jobs that once defined entire towns are disappearing, while new industries we never imagined are rising in their place. The tools of yesterday are no longer enough for tomorrow. Artificial intelligence, automation, digital platforms, and global markets are redefining what prosperity looks like. And in the midst of this change, America is being forced to answer a question: will we allow these forces to control us, or will we rise to guide them with wisdom? Everywhere you look, disruption is at work. A machine can now do what once required 10 workers. A business idea born in a garage can grow into a company influencing millions across the globe. Young innovators, with nothing more than determination and creativity, are building things that shape culture, commerce, and communication. This is exciting. It shows us that opportunity has not died in America. It has simply changed its form. But alongside opportunity, there is also fear. What happens to the worker whose job is replaced by a program? What happens to the family who cannot keep up with the pace of change? What happens when wealth gathers in fewer and fewer hands, while many struggle to survive? This is why transformation is not only an economic or technological matter, it is a moral one. Prosperity without compassion creates division. Innovation without wisdom creates chaos. Growth without justice creates instability. America must not only embrace the tools of tomorrow, but also rediscover the values that make transformation a blessing rather than a burden. If technology is used without conscience, it becomes a weapon. But if it is guided by truth and love, it becomes a tool for healing and building a better world. We must understand that God Himself has placed within humanity the creativity to invent, to innovate, to build. These breakthroughs are not accidents. They are part of the unfolding story of human potential. But the question remains, who directs that potential? Will it be greed? Will it be fear? Or will it be guided by divine purpose? When a nation commits its innovation into the hands of God, then every advance, whether in medicine, technology, or industry, becomes a channel for blessing rather than destruction. Do not let fear of the unknown grip your heart. Transformation is not here to destroy us. It is here to challenge us, to push us higher, to call us into a new season of possibility. The very disruptions that shake us today may be the very breakthroughs that will bless us tomorrow, but only if we choose to align our progress with God's purpose. America is standing at the edge of economic and technological transformation, and this transformation is the very ground upon which something big is about to happen. Beneath all the noise of politics, beneath the struggles of the economy, beneath the debates over culture, there is something deeper happening in America. It is not just a battle of ideas, it is a battle for the very soul of the nation. People are beginning to realize that wealth alone cannot satisfy the emptiness inside. Success without meaning leaves a void. Progress without purpose creates restlessness. What we are seeing across this land is not merely a social movement or a political awakening. It is a spiritual and moral reckoning. When the foundations of a society are shaken, people begin to ask the questions they once ignored. Who are we? What do we believe? What kind of future are we building? And most importantly, where do we turn for guidance? For decades, America has tried to answer those questions with human wisdom, with entertainment, with material wealth. But none of it has been enough. The rising anxiety, the division, the loneliness, the despair, all of these are symptoms of a nation trying to live without a moral compass. Yet in the midst of this crisis, there is also a hunger. People are not only tired of corruption and lies, they are hungry for truth. They are not only weary of hatred and division. They are longing for love that is real. They are not only skeptical of empty promises, they are desperate for something eternal. This hunger is not confined to churches or religious circles. It is present in boardrooms, in classrooms, in neighborhoods, in every place where people feel the weight of life and whisper to themselves, "There must be more than this." I believe that hunger is a sign of God's mercy. It is evidence that He has not abandoned this nation, but is drawing hearts back to Himself. History shows us that every great move of renewal began with a season of moral and spiritual reckoning. When people realized that their strength alone was not enough, they turned to God. And when they turned to Him, He lifted them higher than they ever imagined. The same can happen again in America today. But let me be clear, this reckoning is not about condemnation. It is about invitation. God is not pointing a finger to push us away. He is opening His arms to draw us near. He is saying, "Return to me, and I will heal your land." The choice is ours. Will we continue to chase after idols of comfort and power? Or will we humble ourselves and rediscover the values of truth, justice, compassion, and faith? I sense a stirring that the time has come. America is not just facing political reform or economic change. America is standing at the threshold of a spiritual awakening. And when a nation turns its heart back to God, nothing can stop the wave of renewal that follows. This moral and spiritual reckoning is the clearest sign that something big is about to happen in America. Something big is not only coming to America, it is coming through America. And when I say that, I don't mean through governments or through institutions or through systems alone. I mean through people like you. Too often we sit back and wait for change to arrive as if it will fall from the sky. But God's pattern has always been to use ordinary men and women to accomplish extraordinary things. The miracles of history did not begin in palaces or in the halls of the powerful. They began in humble hearts who dared to believe that their life could matter in God's hands. Every movement that shaped this nation was carried by people who chose to step forward when it would have been easier to remain silent. Farmers, teachers, mothers, fathers, students, they were the ones who made the difference. They did not wait for someone else to take responsibility. They believed that their voice mattered, that their actions had weight, that their prayers could move heaven. And in the same way, the future of America will not be written by spectators. It will be written by participants. Right now, there is a temptation to think, the problems are too big. What can one person really do? But I want you to remember that history is full of individuals who changed the course of nations. One act of courage can inspire thousands. One prayer of faith can open doors that seemed sealed shut. One stand for righteousness can turn the tide of compromise. The enemy of hope wants you to believe that your role is too small. But in God's hands, there is no such thing as small. Every seed planted in faith has the power to grow into something beyond imagination. This is why I believe we must not only recognize that something big is about to happen, but we must be willing to step into it. It is not enough to be stirred in our hearts. We must put our faith into action. This is the moment to build stronger families, to raise children in truth, to love our neighbors with compassion, to work with integrity, to pray with persistence, to speak with courage. America will not be changed by policies alone. It will be changed by people who live out the values of heaven on earth. Do not underestimate the season you are living in. You were not born at this time by accident. You are here in this moment of history for a purpose greater than yourself. God has entrusted you with influence, no matter how small or large, and He is asking you to use it. If enough people across this land take that call seriously, then together their voices, their actions, their prayers will shape the atmosphere of the nation. So hear me clearly. Something big is not just happening around you. It is waiting to happen through you.